All right, what's going on, y'all? So I've got a pretty quick video for y'all today. I got asked a question recently on during a bulk, does it matter if you're getting most of your calories in through shakes, or does it absolutely have to be real food? And by shakes, I mean, protein powders or mass gainers. And this is something that I've got experience doing both. And my opinion's changed on it over the last couple of years. So I'm going to tell you what I think is the best way to go about it, especially when you're really having a bulk and you're really trying to push your calories up high. So back in the day, back in college, when I was really getting started with bodybuilding, on YouTube, there was frankly not many bodybuilders out there. There was a lot of, fitness influencers like Steve Cook and those guys. And then as far as the actual bodybuilders, there's only a few. And I listened to Rich Piana. Rich Piana was the guy that was putting out the most unfiltered content. He was, keeping it pretty real. And if any of y'all have listened to Rich Piana's stuff, he preaches all the time, or preached all the time, about eating real food. He was sponsored by Mutant, and he had a couple, shake meals in throughout the day. He would mix his protein powder in with Greek yogurt, and had that a couple times during the day. But most of his food, or most of his meals, were coming in from real food, and that's what he preached. So in the beginning, that's what I did. I made sure to have most of my meals coming from real food, which was pretty tough. So then, the years went by, I got into ultra running, all of that. So then when I really locked into, really wanted to go hard with bodybuilding, wanted to become a pro, when I went into my first actual dedicated real bulk, I made sure to make it real food. Now, the hard part about this, and I made it real food with all clean food. The hard part about this is I don't have the greatest appetite. So, there's some guys that can just, plow through 10,000 calories a day, every day, fairly easily. And I've got a couple buddies in this sport that their appetites are insane. So it's pretty difficult for me even in the beginning. My first real bulk, I got up to like 3,500-ish calories a day of clean food, and it was tough. Now, granted, I was only like 210 or 220 during I think I got up to 215, the max, of my first real bulk. That was the one that I did right before I went into prep to go pro in men's physique. And that was pretty tough, when I peaked out at 3,500 calories. So then after that, I went into another bulk after I went pro. And this one, during this time, I really started listening to Hunter Labrada. Now, you guys know, if you've watched my channel, I modeled my training style after Hunter Labrada's, and it's worked insanely well for me. And with that, he doesn't have the greatest appetite either. And so with him, most of his meals were coming in from shakes. His dad owns Labrada Nutrition, so he had kind of easy access to all the supplements. So 4 or 5 of his 6 meals during the day were coming from protein powder. What he was doing was, a lot of his meals were Rice Krispie cereal blended up with protein powder. So that's what I did during the bulk. I guess that would have been a year and a half ago. And it worked pretty well for me, and it's worked well for Hunter Labrada. So what I would do is most of my meals throughout the day were Rice Krispie cereal blended up in a NutriBullet, and then I'd use almond butter and then protein powder, and that made up quite a few meals during the day. I think I got in that bulk, maybe up to 4,800-ish calories per day at the peak of it, and that took me up to 253 last year. Now, it wasn't the cleanest 253. I wasn't, fat, but it was not, a super tight, 253. And when I'm bulking, I know some fat's going to come on. I'm not going to be, obviously super lean, but I do like to hold a pretty good shape. One, it makes prep a lot easier. 2, you want to remain more insulin sensitive. There's a lot of reasons why I like to, keep a cleaner bulk. And with it, I didn't as much. Now, a lot of you watching, I know you're going to say, all comes down to calories in, calories out. Well, hopefully you've been in the game long enough that that's bullshit. It's not calories in, calories out. Your macros do matter. Even with the macros, taking it even further, your food selection matters. So, if you have someone that's having, this macro split over here, and you've got someone else that has the same exact macro split, but they're choosing foods that are frankly better, the look is going to be better. Even though they've got the macros the same, the look is going to be better with the person with the better foods. This is something I've seen with myself. Now, the point I'm getting to here is, for the last year, I cut out the shakes. Same with Hunter Labrada. He did too. He cut out the shakes, went back to more real food, and I did as well. And in the beginning, I thought it was going to be pretty tough, because now, just to maintain my weight, I need about 4,700 calories. And then the push up in weight, I'm having to eat 5,500 to 6,000 calories a day. So I thought doing that with real food, and pretty much only one shake throughout the day, I thought it was going to be pretty tough. It actually ended up being easier. After the first couple weeks where my stomach got used to the volume of food, it ended up being better. The big point here is the digestion. So when I was doing the shakes, you got to think, even with the protein powder, the mass gainers, all of that, there's a ton of ingredients in those. And now, it's not necessarily bad ingredients, but you've got a ton of ingredients in those. Whereas if you have, your food coming from rice, eggs, and egg whites, say, for a meal, or you've got it from rice, chicken breast, you've only got a couple ingredients there. And for most people out there, their digestion is just going to be so much better optimized with the real food. So it's not just having real food, but it's actually having the real food that works for you, and hopefully superfood. So for me, the big point here is I figured out the foods that my digestion works extremely well, to where now, me thinking I had not the best appetite for bodybuilding, now I'm actually hungry. If I'm getting less than 4,500 calories a day, I'm starving. So now I actually have an appetite to grow, and I'm doing it all with real food. And so, I've got a very short food selection. I'm going to do a full day of eating for y'all here coming up pretty soon, but just kind of naming the ingredients up to the top of my head. I use oats. I have 2 meals in the day that I do use protein powder, and then the rest of the meals are jasmine rice, eggs. I do a ton of eggs now. I figured out that for me, whole eggs rather than chicken breast does even so much better. And not only for digestion, guys, I'm now starting to actually realize that the look is better. You can keep the waist tighter. You're not as bloated. So it's not just for digestion and bloat, all of that, but I really do think that you get better results with the real food. Now, it's not going to be dramatic. If you're having all shakes during the day, compared to all real food, and you're getting the same calories in, your results are going to be pretty similar. But I do think there's just a better look when you have the real food. So, I do oats, eggs, jasmine rice, egg whites. I have 1 meal with chicken breast. I do ground beef or a filet mignon. And that's it. I use hot sauces, but that's frankly it. I'm doing a ton of eggs, and just keeping it all real food. I'm loving my meals. I look forward to them all. And now I'm not just feeling, completely stuffed to the brim all the time. And I'm able to get more food. Now, a big point of this too is every bulk you go into, you should be able to eat more food. You should have more mass on you, that you just, require more. Your metabolism's higher because you have more muscle. But even with that being said, I've done both routes of, doing the whole shake route, where I did most of my meals from shakes. And then a long period of time now, I've been doing real food, and the real food, it does make a big difference. So I'm a big advocate of what Rich Piana preached, which was get your calories in from real food as best you can. I know those of you out there that are doing these big heavy bulks, I know that's intimidating. I was there with you. The volume of food is just a ton, and so it does seem easier to go ahead and be able to drink your food or mix protein powder into Greek yogurt or something. But, as best you can, go ahead and find the foods that work best for you. This is kind of different for everybody. Like I said, I'm plowing through a ton of eggs now, whereas I know for some people they can't stand eggs. So find out what works well for your digestion. And when you find that out, you'll figure out that, even though you're doing these huge, heavy meals, within the 2-hour period that you're getting ready to eat again, you're ready to eat again. Once you figure those out, you'll be good to go. So that's the big point here is find the foods that work best for you. Make sure they're single ingredient foods. So, jasmine rice is just rice. Chicken breast is just chicken breast. Eggs are just eggs. use single ingredient foods, and then find out which ones you digest really well, and then you're going to be able to take that volume up really, really high. But, you know, I've been getting a lot of questions that y'all want me to answer in kind of these quick truck videos. So if you have a question that you want me to expand on, drop it down in the comments. Let me know you want me to do a video on it, or send me an Instagram DM, or send me an email. I've got another video coming up here pretty soon on during a bulk, both natural and enhanced. How fast should you be growing? So at what rate of growth, how many pounds a week should you be looking for? All of that. I'll be answering that here pretty soon. And I want to go ahead and give you all a full day of eating. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Be happy, be positive, be powerful. Have a great rest of your day.